grabbing everyone's attention with a little bit of fire, to using an unbustable puzzle to score free drinks, to even escaping from zip ties and handcuffs. Not that you would, but you could. Hopefully you're that much closer to being the most interesting person in the room. And speaking of which, I feel like one of these rooms is calling to me. Just a quick nightcap. We're gonna wrap things
what was
up,
that?
right?
Was that a television
Hey, Bob,
show?
how you
Let's
doing,
start
man?
the show!
She's got swindled chicks. Welcome to Cordkillers, our mission to report the intel at the bars and on the streets from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so you can watch the stuff you love when you want, where you want, on whatever device you want. I'm Tom Merritt. He is Brian Brushwood.
Yeah, man, and that was a clip from just a show on the Science Channel that a bunch of Cordkillers tuned in to watch this past Saturday morning.
That's so funny you mentioned that. I woke up on Saturday morning at 4:30 just wanting some Pop-Tarts and cold coffee because I was too tired to brew any and sit down to see what was on TV, and it was Scam School.
That's crazy, man. No, I want to give a huge thanks to everybody who tuned in to set your DVRs and to remind you that if you DVR'd it but haven't watched it, please watch it as soon as you can.
Yeah, within 7 days.
Yeah,
Right now, just because.
Just press
you don't
play.
want to. You don't want to wait that long.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Yeah, no.
Hey, joining us this week on Cordkillers, we're going to be talking about the things you love to watch, the ways you can watch them, and Shannon Morse from Tech Thing and Hack 5 is here to join us. How's it going, Shannon?
Hello, everybody. It's going wonderful. How are you today?
Good. It's been way too long. We were realizing right before the show that it was all the way last year since we last had you here.
I know, and I love talking about TV shows, so anytime you want me to have on, I'm more than happy to.
How
Excellent.
do you feel?
Well, let's do it right now.
Yes!
And we'll start with our primary target. Yes, you probably heard about this. Last Wednesday, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller announced they were leaving their gig as directors of the new, as yet untitled, Star Wars Han Solo movie. In fact, they've almost finished production, or shooting, I should say, of the movie. But Phil Lord and Christopher Miller will no longer be directing it. If you did miss any of it, I'm going to catch you up right now. They said in their statement, unfortunately, our vision and process weren't aligned with our partners on this project. We normally aren't fans of the phrase creative differences, but for once, this cliche is true. Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, said, "It's become clear that we had different creative visions on this film, and we've decided to part ways." Now, the next day, Thursday, Lucasfilm announced Ron Howard being brought on board. He will resume shooting whatever's left to shoot on July 10th. Howard said, "I hope to honor the great work already done and help deliver on the promise of a Han Solo film."
Man, I don't know. Seems like a crazy idea to go with the narrator from Arrested Development. I mean, what has he done that merits directing a movie?
What Oscars has he
I was wondering where he
won?
was from. I hadn't heard of him. I was like, I can't place that name. Where is he from? What has he done that warrants Han Solo's film?
This is fairly astonishing. I'm curious from a logistical perspective whether or not like just Han Solo, Ron Howard's name's going to be on the credits, and that's that, which is pretty weird. 4.5 months of principal photography. It's pretty extraordinary to say difference in tone so great that we're going to kick off these well-beloved people. Like, do you think they were just going to make it too jokey, too Lego-ish, Lego movie-ish?
I mean, that's the question. We had, if you remember the booth at the end, which I loved, and we talked about it a lot on Cordkillers, we had the creator of that, Christopher Kubasik, on Current Geek on Friday, and he said, let's be clear, these guys were fired. Like, this is what firing in Hollywood looks like in public. Like, they were not following the rules, and he implied that maybe there's a little bit of putting the Directors Guild on notice that, hey, directors don't get a free pass anymore. You can be fired. But obviously there was a reason for it. And my guess is, yeah, Lord and Miller's irreverent comedy just didn't fit with Lawrence Kasdan's comedy. Lawrence Kasdan originated the script, and the rumor is that he was the one who wanted Lord and Miller, but then later was having problems getting them to go in the direction that he had imagined.
What do you say, Snubs?
Well, I'm a little bit like, I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing. So how do you guys feel about it? Because I haven't been following necessarily the directors themselves.
Sure.
But
these
whenever I
guys...
see a a fan service movie, which I really feel like this one's going to be a fan service movie, I always worry about that just in itself, because I'm like, I feel like it's just going to be a big mashup of amazing views and imagery that, of course, the fans are going to love. But is it going to be something that, the rest of the population is going to enjoy?
I mean, look, a vote for Ron Howard in the Star Wars universe is pretty much a vote for beige. It's a very safe color that nobody's going to get too angry about, and that's what they want to do. And as a fan, I have different thoughts than as an entertainment professional. As an entertainment professional, this is the smart bet. This is the right bet. In a world where Star Wars is still reeling from the specter of the prequels and the very expensive purchase that Disney made, and they need another hit and so on, especially after Rogue One got not perfect reviews. Yes, this is what you do. As a fan, real bummer, bummer, because we're about this close to having something actually new or different or not the same. Now, granted, keep in mind, it may be that we have Star Wars Episode 8 coming out. Maybe that's going to be the one that makes me fall back in love with the Star Wars universe. But so far, I've seen only 5 movies, all just really about the first 3 movies. And I was ready for something else. And I don't know if I'm ever going to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel differently about Force Awakens than you do, obviously. But that said, yes, this is a safe choice. And a safe choice is probably not what you want on these anthology films. I know they're not really called anthology anymore, but whatever these ancillary, off-book films are, you do want to be within the core mythology on the main films. But at the same time, let's even as a fan, let's look at this as, if Lord and Miller were making the Lego movie out of Han Solo, would you be comfortable with that? Like, what if it's not like, hey, it's different, but it's different in the wrong way? You wouldn't want that either. So I think, Brian, I'm 100% agree with you that professionally, Ron Howard is absolutely the only person that you can get right now. Like any other choice I can think of would have problems. When I saw Ron Howard, I'm like, oh, yes, that is the only move they had that they could make, and they were able to make it. Good for them. But breaking up a movie like this into 2 directors, which they essentially did with Rogue One, just they did it after principal photography had been finished, is never going to end up being as good of a movie as if the director had been on it all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hesitate to use the word never, but I certainly can't think of an example where it's going to.
I'm not being extravagant by saying never. You're right, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, I am inherently optimistic about it, but to have them at the principal photography level, where it's like that, they didn't even wait until photography was over and then say, well, we could carve out and fix and maybe do some reshoots. They're all like, essentially they're saying none of this is usable. All of it tonally is wrong. We have to essentially do it all again. I'm glad you enjoyed 4.5 months of practice, because now we got to make a movie in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine there's still stuff that they're going to use from principal photography, but you're right. They're saying we can't let these guys continue. Like, they're wasting film at this point, so we have to get them out of here and get someone else in stat.
Yeah, I don't know. I part of me wants to speculate a million different ways, but another part of me doesn't.
Well, look, I am like you. I am going to try to stay positive about this and hope that all of us will be sitting back and watching for the 15th time the amazing Han Solo movie on our Rokus and Apple TVs several months after May when it comes out on digital. But I am a little more skeptical than I certainly was before the beginning of next week, because the cast has been great. I've loved everything Lord and Miller have done. And don't forget, I mean, Ron Howard, that we should give him credit, has worked with Lucasfilm before. He directed Willow. He was apparently going to direct Phantom Menace until George Lucas decided to direct all of those himself. Really wish that had happened for many reasons, not the least of which it would be really interesting to see Ron Howard returning to the franchise, having already had some experience with it.
Oh man, that would have been fantastic. That would have been. Remember, there was rumors during before the Phantom Menace that Irvin Kershner, the director of Empire Strikes Back, would maybe come back, but ultimately he said, "I'm too old." And then we got what we got.
He said it more like Ray Romano would say it though, because they talk alike.
Oh, do they? I've not listened to Irvin.
That's always when I hear Irvin Kershner talk. I always think of Ray Romano.
That's amazing.
All right, folks. We have given away a Chromecast. Thank you to everyone who sent us suggestions for Spoiler in Time, and congratulations to Scott M. We'll be in touch with you soon. You know who you are. Now we do too. And we have kicked off the voting for our next Spoiler in Time anthology watch.
Yeah.
We will be finishing up Justified in just a couple weeks, Brian, and they can go to patreon.com/Cordkillers to start voting on the next TV show.
Yeah, for those of you guys who aren't familiar, we do a show called Spoiler in Time. It's a companion show to this one where we review and talk about all the different stuff out there. And, of course, people support the show at patreon.com/Cordkillers, where that keeps us loud, live, and independent. And in this case, it's going to be your hub to visit a post where we are going to whittle down from 8 contenders. We're going to end up picking one show that's already completed its run or close to it, and that we're going to watch week over week and give you our thoughts on it. Previously, we're wrapping up Justified right now. We did The Shield. We did The Wire. We've done a lot of police dramas of all varieties. What else have we done? Is that it?
That's it. The Wire was kind of the proto one, and then The Shield was the first one that we actually committed. Like we will watch this all the way through.
So the battle begins now. We're gonna take 3 weeks to do this because we're gonna do it Final Four NCAA March Madness style.
March Madness. So march on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers.
We have to announce the contenders here and talk it through, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it a little more on Spoiler in Time itself. But yes, the contenders at the moment are Hannibal versus Babylon 5, Firefly versus Stargate SG-1, Deadwood versus Peaky Blinders, and Black Sails versus Terriers.
All the survivors go on to the semifinals and eventually the finals. And thank you again to everybody supporting us, keeping us loud, live, and independent at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
Yeah, you don't have to be a patron to vote, but since you're going to be over there anyway.
I mean, what's a couple more clicks?
All right, let's talk about how to watch the things that you want to watch. Netflix heard Brian on last week's show say, "Oh, Netflix, you're out of ideas. What are you going to do next?" and announced the next day the debut of interactive stories that let viewers decide what happens next. First releases are meant for younger viewers. There's Puss in Book, Trapped in an Epic Tale. That one launched globally last Tuesday. It pauses 13 times, has 2 different endings, and can last between 18 and 39 minutes. Next will be Buddy Thunderstruck, The Maybe Pile. That comes out July 14th. Then Stretch Armstrong, The Breakout, set to come out sometime next year. Keep in mind, the Netflix website, Android devices, Chromecast, and Apple TV do not support the interactive content at this time. I can't believe the website doesn't, but your iOS apps, your Roku, those will all support it.
And then I didn't catch on that list. Like my kids watch on a PlayStation. You think they're safe to experience it?
No. The only ones that I mentioned are the ones that don't support it as far as I know. So PlayStation ought to.
Got it. Hey, by the way, I need to just give up on using words because apparently people just ascribe whatever meaning they want to whatever comes out of my mouth. I didn't say that they're doomed to fail. I didn't say that they're gonna miss out on providing interactive content or whatever. I said that things become calcified. Businesses when they miss opportunity become calcified, and smaller, svelter upstarts do it. To be honest, I do not find this to be so exciting a development for Netflix.
Well, and what you were rightly pointing out last week, and I was too, was Netflix, has been ahead of the game for so many years. They don't seem to have anything that obviously is putting them ahead of the game right now.
Right.
And it was funny that the next day they're like, what about choose your own adventure stories.
Exactly. I'm sorry, but choose your own adventure stories. When I learned that is the first thing everybody thinks to try on interactive anything, including Brian in 6th grade learning basic programming.
Yeah, that's what I learned when I started coding too.
The first thing that happened when they made clickable annotations on YouTube, everyone made choose your own adventure, blah blah blah. And guess what? Later they're phasing out clickable annotations because while that's an easy sell in a groupthink boardroom of brainstormers, it's not a very popular format. I can't think of any version where it's been popular. Shannon, can you? Like, not because I've seen movies that have tried it with people
Paperback
voting.
book.
Like I used to, when I was a little girl, I started out with those adventure books. So you would read to the end of a page and then it would be like skip to page 39. So for me, it's very memorable. So I like seeing things like that. I don't think it's breakthrough. I don't think Netflix is the first company to do this. They're certainly not. But I think it's a cute way to add some interaction to the, and maybe even some education for kids. I might even try some of the interactive shows that they might put on there just because for me, it's like reminiscing to my childhood.
I'm going to test it on my kids because I could see two realities. I could see one where the same magic we experienced reading the Choose Your Own Adventure books, and it turns out to be the same thing in a 21st century version. I could see another reality where my 4-year-old is sitting there having a popsicle and she just gets annoyed that the story keeps stopping and that she has to get up and go do a thing. So I'll report back on how it goes over.
Yeah, I'll be interested. We had Joel on Current Geek on Friday, tried this with his kids and they loved it. And I could see kids loving this. You know, whether, again, with children though, how long will they love it? Do they love it the one time they try it and never go back? Do they want to go back and try the next one? Like that's a question. And then I think another interesting question I want to pose to you guys is, do you see any way this translates to adults? Because I think we all can see like, oh, a kid's choose your own adventure book with Puss in Boots looking at the camera and go, what should I do next, kids? Which is pretty much what this one does in a much more clever way than that. Do you want to interact with a story that's more adult?
I do not.
I want to see them do this with House of Cards.
Yeah. Well, actually,
should I shoot him or let him go?
Well,
right? Wouldn't that be cool? You'd get to choose the ending. But then I would get bored with it, to be honest. I would just be like, okay, I just want to sit back and drink a beer and let it do its own thing.
Well, although it would work with House of Cards because he does keep turning to the audience and talking to him.
Exactly.
Here's what my gut says about this is that like when I'm watching television, I enjoy seeing a master craftsman tell a story in a perfect way, and as such, I don't want the anxiety of knowing that if the movie's bad, there's a chance it's because I picked the wrong things. I can see the idea of if there's multiple endings, you go back and watch every single one. That works if you're repeat viewing something, but I don't know that I will find myself repeat viewing, Puss in Boots a whole bunch of times. I don't know.
It's Puss in Book.
Whatever.
Yeah. The actual name.
He's wearing boots.
Now, I think Reed Hastings is going to be on the show next week going, I'm just going to stop using words because, come on, guys, this wasn't Netflix's big idea that was going to save
That's
Netflix.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Like, it just happened that we had that conversation on Monday, and this came out on Tuesday. So yeah, I doubt that Netflix is trying to pin their future hopes just on this idea. And in that respect, I'm like, oh, sure, why not? You ought to try this. And that is actually what Reed Hastings has been saying is we need to have more cancellations and try more things that won't work. We need to take more risks. And this isn't the riskiest thing they could take, but it is a little riskier than just putting out another show.
Well, and also there is a dollar value to shareholders, to goodwill, just knowing that they're continuing to tinker and try new things, and as opposed to just, quietly calcifying. And so in an age where we're no longer impressed with the novelty of Netflix originals, it does make sense that they would do something like this, just if for no other reason than to give us something to chat about, to remind us that Netflix is trying out lots of cool stuff.
All right. YouTube has got some new originals. We're going to run them around the room here and see if any of us are going to bite in our next segment about what to watch under surveillance.
Not like real estate. It's all about location, location. Under surveillance.
So VidCon was last week. 6 new shows announced. I'm just going to throw them out here. Shannon and Brian, you tell me if these sound good, bad, or you can do thumbs up, thumbs down, or no rating, YouTube style. The first one is Good Game, an esports comedy from Dan Harmon, Brian, starring Dan Avedon and Aaron Egoraptor Hansen from Game Grumps. That's the first one coming on August 30th.
Let me get this straight. Not only does it come from Dan Harmon, but it also features the guy who won Dance Showdown the season before I was on. That's a big thumbs up.
All right, Shannon, what about you?
I'm going to say a big thumbs down because it sounds like a remake of the Pure Ownage movie, which was the first one to do a comedy about esports.
But was it funny?
Yes, it was great.
Okay. All right.
All right. You're ripping off. You're ripping things off, Dan Harmon. Shannon just threw down the gauntlet. Show 2 out of 6. Ryan Hansen solves crimes on television. LAPD pairs up actors with homicide detectives to solve crimes, starring Ryan Hansen. If you might remember him from Veronica Mars or Party Down. He plays Ryan Hansen himself. And Samira Wiley, Orange is the New Black, Handmaid's Tale, you know, Samira Wiley. She's the detective he gets paired up with. And, of course, it'll be full of cameos. Joel McHale, John Cryer, Kristen Bell. The list goes on.
When I first read this, I made the mistake. I had to read it twice because the first time I read it, it sounded like a reality show similar to that Steven Seagal pretending to be a cop show. And I was so much happier when I realized that it just took place in a ridiculous world where anybody thought that was a good idea. So this is another thumbs up in principle. We'll see on execution.
Shannon?
I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think it's a funny idea. I really like seeing actors and actresses put in these awkward situations, even if they are acting it out. It just seems like a funny little way to do it.
I love cameos, except when they seem forced. And this is a vehicle for cameos. So I feel like it might work in that way. Plus, I love Samira Wiley. She's fantastic. All right, awesome. Third show out of 6, Lifeline. A life insurance company sends its agents forward 33 days in time to prevent the accidental deaths of its clients.
I've got one fundamental problem with this premise. Can you guess what it is?
Life insurance doesn't make for good television?
No. If you want to save lives, why would you go 33 days in the future? Wouldn't you want to go 33 days in the past to stop things before they happen?
I may have said it wrong. I will double check.
I went and double checked it. I read that.
Okay.
I read that and I'm like, that makes no sense. So I went to the article and sure enough, that's exactly what it says.
You're right. What? How did they? What? I don't understand.
And there's no word on them coming back either. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, and how do they debrief at the end? Well, you're really going to have solved that one in a month and a half.
So I don't know. We'll see. No, I'm going to say no comment.
A typo on the press release now.
Well, it could be, and I thought about this. Well, if you're able to come back, then you could go 33 days in the future, poke your head around and say, anybody die unexpectedly? Okay, thanks, and then go back and stop it or something.
That must be it. It must be like you send them forward in time, go prevent the accidental deaths.
But
and
yeah. Again.
In other words, the forwarding is not the prevention. The forwarding is the scouting mission. That's the only way this works, right?
Yeah, but you would think, yeah.
And then you come back and go, Bob's going to fall off a cliff. Let's keep Bob away from cliffs in 33 days.
But how would they know to go forward?
Well, and plus,
I kind of want to watch this.
What happens to the one poor guy who goes 33 days and there's just a wasteland and he just dies of radiation or I don't know.
I think our ratings are thumbs.
No, I'm not even giving it thumbs. I'm gonna wait to hear about it.
Yeah. 4 out of 6. Do you want to see a dead body? Rob Hubble from Children's Hospital and Transparent finds a dead body at the beach and then shows it to all his celebrity friends. Lots of cameos. Adam Scott, Judy Greer, Terry Crews, Craig Robinson, John Cho. What do you think, Brian?
I think I lived this. I remember I saw a dead seal. I thought it was a person for a second.
No, this is a human, though.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the same. Unless you have a lot of seal celebrity friends.
No.
Like seal.
Again with the cameos as a selling point. I'm going to say thumbs down. I don't like it.
I'm
Shannon?
iffy on this one. I'm a fan of quite a few of those cameos. I like John Cho. I like Judy Greer. So I don't know. I have to watch it to see.
I was thumbs down until I saw the list of the cameos. I'm like, those are some pretty good people. Like they either paid them a lot or it's a good concept. So I'm thumbs neutral now. Was that 4? Furs World Wonders. Colin Furs, extreme inventor, helps other inventors with backyard inventions. This is pretty much taking a YouTube star and having him do what he does in a more traditional, like, reality, unscripted show.
Well, I'm going to say, if there was a show that featured a YouTube celebrity that was, taking content that already existed on it and gussying it up for television in a half-hour format, I think that'd be a great idea, and I think it's going to do real well. And
YouTube should probably do more of that kind of show.
Sure, or possibly put it on television. I mean, if it was on television, it'd be even better.
Well, these are YouTube's TV level budgets.
Ooh, well.
Yeah, that's true.
I knew I'd get you with that one. Shannon, what do you think of this one?
It doesn't sound super exciting to me. I'm just not super excited about it. So I'm going to say halfway point. I'm not big into like the real world shows.
Just not interested in watching the show.
Not really. It's like Shark Tank, but with inventors. Well, I guess that is Shark Tank.
Well, except Colin actually goes and helps them. He doesn't just sit and judge them. So slightly better. And finally, Lace Up, the Ultimate Sneaker Challenge, a reality show where contestants design and develop the next great sneaker.
Dude, I think I will not watch this. I do not care about it. I will not enjoy it. But this is a dangerous phrase. Well, it's not for me, but I bet it'll do really well because sneakers are huge. I do feel like the fundamentals are pretty good on it, though. You have a design thing in a specific subject that is, has near universal popularity.
It's probably like those fashion shows, like the women's fashion clothesline real world type scenario shows where they vote on them and everything like that. So I'm sure there's going to be a market for it.
Yeah,
I'm not that market either. I will fall asleep if I watch that show.
I'm a big fan of tennis shoes, but not sneakers. So I'll wait for season 2. Tennis shoes. Because nobody calls it that anymore. All right. Renewed is Escape the Night, the murder mystery. Rhett and Link's Buddy System gets another season. Mind Field, that show about psychology and neuroscience. And Don't Get Bit, Laser Team 2, Rooster Teeth's sci-fi action comedy. Those are all coming back to YouTube Red for a second season. Strangely, PewDiePie did not get renewed.
Ooh.
Not surprised.
Maybe it's, I don't know, talking about Nazis. A new Game of Thrones trailer came out in advance of season 7 starting July 16th. Trailer shows all the main characters in unusual and sometimes even unidentifiable locations. But did it get you guys excited?
I intentionally did not watch it because I just realized, I'm so all in. I don't know what I'll get out of. I'm now at the point where I value more the excitement of seeing everything fresh than I do the excitement of knowing it's around the corner. I'm already at max excitement for it being around the corner.
Fair enough. Shannon?
I watched the trailers. I am very excited for this. Game of Thrones is one of those shows, though, where I don't want too many spoilers, and I think this trailer gives you just enough of a peek to not ruin the plotline for you. So since I haven't read all the books, and I'm not even sure if this season 7 has been written yet. I don't think that one's been written
It's not.
yet.
Yeah, we're now in the future of
I didn't
the
think
book.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
so for me, this is like a brand new surprise. So I'm very, very excited about it, and I'm glad that they kept some secrets in the trailer and didn't spoil anything.
Part of the enjoyment for me with stuff like this that I'm really into is poring over all of these advanced details and seeing what I can figure out and see if I'm right and get a little inkling of what might be coming. And that's just a different way of approaching it. But I loved this trailer for that because, like you say, there's no spoilers, but there's lots of clues. So if you like the puzzle aspect of trying to figure out what's going to be happening in a show,
and I think that there are movies and stories that where the stakes are low enough that I don't mind engaging in that. But like I care so much about this that I feel like I'll just be distracted, spending every episode wondering, ooh, was I right about the so-and-so? Oh, it is the so-and-so. And it's like I want very much to just lose myself in the story on this one. But I'm
See,
with
my
you.
husband does that. He does the whole thing like, oh, I try to figure out what's happening with the detective, and
I
I
can't
try to
help
see
it.
if I'm the correct person with the crime, and I just can't do it. I love to be surprised whenever I watch these shows, especially if I'm so involved with the characters and I want to know like which ones are going to die.
Yeah,
I want to
and
be surprised.
I hate it. I can't turn it off. I don't want to. That's the reason I'm not looking, is because you see it, you just want to figure it out.
Yeah.
Variety says HBO is in talks with Damon Lindelof, who just finished up a successful run of 3 seasons of Leftovers, to develop a Watchmen TV show. And apparently the project would not involve Zack Snyder, so it probably has no connection to the movie.
Yeah. Man, forgive me for saying, but the Watchmen movie was a bit of a Rorschach test. If you had read the comic book, in general, people seem to like the movie if they were familiar with the comic. If they hadn't seen the comic, they tend to say, "What the hell is this hot garbage? This makes no sense." It would be nice if there was something that was a little bit in the middle, but also I'm afraid it'll be kind of like my experience with American Gods, where I know the story so well now. I don't know. I'm optimistic. I think The Leftovers was a real resounding success. The only thing that I'd be bummed about is that I don't know how many surprises and mysteries will be around in a story that is already out in so many forms.
But one of the theories is that they would go off book and tell stories that are only alluded to in the comic.
That'd be great.
And go into eras not covered and stuff like that. Shannon, are you into Watchmen at all?
Not as much as I wish I was. I think I was born at the wrong time or something because I never picked up the comics. I did see the older movie when that first came out, but otherwise I haven't seen much of Watchmen. So I do want to watch it, though. I do want to see the TV show and kind of get more involved into it because I think it would introduce me to something that I might actually really enjoy.
Well, here's something you can't watch because not enough people enjoyed it. Girl Boss, the series about a Web 2.0 era entrepreneur who starts a vintage clothing store online, had a 32% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and Netflix gave it the axe. Now, this is not the first show that Netflix has canceled recently, but this is the first cheap show that they've canceled. This had nothing to do with budget.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think in general, Netflix has done such a good job of maintaining a reputation for quality work that now they're at the point where they'd rather prune, some of those underperforming stuffs artistically. Did you ever watch this? Will you ever watch this, Shannon?
Yes, I did. Do you guys know the story behind Girl Boss?
No.
Yeah.
I think the real world story, which is based on the creator of Nasty Gal, look it up. The entire thing's on like Wikipedia and a bunch of like feminist websites if you want to check it out. But she had a very dramatic time when she was building her business, and a lot of people didn't like the real woman that the show is based off of, and I feel like that probably had a lot to do with the cancellation of Girl Boss because the release of the show happened right after a whole bunch of legal battles with the real world Nasty Gal people. So I think that was probably a major issue and may have had something to do with Netflix deciding to cancel it.
Well, and she is a producer on the show as well. She's involved in it. So I don't know how involved. Sometimes people get producer credits just for agreeing to let their name be used and stuff. So
I wonder how easy she was to work with.
Yeah.
She came out today and said that she was glad it was canceled, probably because it was going up to it finished off at kind of the good parts of her business before the bankruptcy sort of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about the stuff that we have been watching, starting with you, Shannon. What's been filling your eyeballs?
Yay! So unfortunately, I'm not caught up on any of the new shows that have been just releasing. I've been trying to catch up with older shows because I've heard that new seasons are going to be releasing very soon. So I have been watching Chelsea on Netflix, which is the only talk show ever that I will watch. I think it's hilarious. I've also been delving a lot into Reign, which is more of a medieval times story about Mary, Queen of Scots. Season 4 was just released on Netflix, so I've caught up with that one. I'm going to be just starting season 4. And then I'm also getting into a bunch of anime and Japanese television. So Terrace House, which is kind of like a real world it's like Real World from MTV, but based in Japan, and it has like 6 Japanese people in a household, and it's helping me learn a lot more of the language. So I've been really getting into Terrace House on Netflix. And lastly, I've been getting into, and I'm reading my list over here, Sailor Moon Crystal. Season 4 was announced of that. So I've been catching up with Sailor Moon Crystal Season 3, which is on Crunchyroll and Hulu. And then also Attack on Titan Season 2 just came out on Crunchyroll. So I've been catching up on that one too. Season 2, everybody's been stoked about it. So it's been a really, really big one on my list that I've been meaning to watch forever. And I was like, okay, finally I have a reason to sit down and just get all of them watched in one weekend. So I'm slowly getting through them whenever I'm off work.
I started Attack on Titan and then I got distracted. It's one of those shows. I feel like there's a category of show where I do like it, but it gets kicked out of my queue somehow, of my mental queue. And this will get me to go back and start watching it again.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think you do have to have a mentality for it. It's not the kind of anime that I usually watch. I'm very much into like the Bashoujo girls anime, not so much the action-y like men's anime. So that's what this show is. But I've kind of forced myself to sit down and get through like the first 10 episodes. And then I started getting really into it after that. And I was like, okay, I like this show.
This is the one that starts with the giant skinless thing eating. Just,
yeah.
Yeah.
It
all
is.
right. Yeah. No, that opening just floored
it's
me.
Freaky, but it's good. It's really cool. Your kids probably wouldn't like it, actually, Brian. So.
No. I can confirm.
Gus and Bonnie neither. Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody asked in the chat room if Sailor Moon Crystal's animation got better, and it did. They actually got new animators on the show eventually. I think it was between season 1 and season 2, so it did get better.
All right, Brian, your line looks almost identical to my line, but what you got?
Yeah, dude, finally watched all of Fargo, like 5 episodes straight in a row. Season 3 I finished up, got caught up just in time for the finale. Of course, we watched Justified, did see the finale of Better Call Saul, watched Preacher last night. We'll talk about that in spoiler in time. And both of us watched Glow. Did you see anything else?
Well, actually, I watched episode 3 of Glow. I haven't seen episodes 1 and 2
I watched episodes 1 and 2. We're like Gift of the Magi-ing it.
Yeah, right. I did watch Twin Peaks, obviously, because I am also doing a Twin Peaks podcast. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had time for. I got to see Despicable Me 3 this weekend. This is the benefit of my wife getting a job at Fandango / Rotten Tomatoes. And it was good. It was great. I on my scale of, good, great, amazing, mind-blowing, it was great. And I would recommend people go see it. It's fun. I thought they did an excellent job of balancing out having grow as a character, but still having some villainy that was believable. They did a great side story with the Minions that was really fun, and I didn't think distracted from the main plot. And then it was the world premiere, so they had a whole carnival thing set up outside with like Ferris wheels and chicken and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Wow, right on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where can I watch Twin Peaks, Tom?
I did see that, and I would recommend Despicable Me 3. But back to Glow. Glow is also what we're on the lookout for, right, Bryce?
That's right. And Twin Peaks, that's on Stars, right, Tom?
Twin Peaks is not on Stars. Twin Peaks is on Showtime.
Showtime.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so like Glow, I watched all of Glow over the weekend. I was entranced by it. It was fantastic. Glow, if you haven't heard, and I think we talked about it, once it was announced a few months ago, is Glow was a real like female wrestling league in the 80s. Is that right?
Yep. I remember first time I saw them was they were on the Phil Donahue show, and it was just straight up Glow doing Glow things, and I was like, I don't even understand this. This is crazy.
And so it's a female wrestling league. It follows Alison Brie's character, who is a classically trained actress who is having trouble finding, aggressive, powerful parts in Hollywood, and ends up in this league of this mismatched ensemble league of wrestlers. It's really fantastic. Actually, listener David wrote in to tell us a little bit about his experience with Glow. I hadn't experienced this in years on Netflix of asking me, "Are you still watching?" But he binged 7 episodes from the first season on Saturday night, so it keeps asking you after a certain point. He ended up really enjoying the 80s nostalgia, and it brought back good memories as a child from watching pro wrestling with his dad. Allison Brie from Community and Mad Men is especially good as a wrestler heel. I would claim Glow is the second greatest series Netflix has, below Stranger Things. Glow's great. It's executive produced by Jenji Cohen, who you would know from Orange is the New Black or Weeds, but she is not the creator, and I don't believe that she's the showrunner. But it's still a ensemble dramedy show like those other shows are, where it's a lot of different characters and a lot of their own personalities coming through. But I think the biggest change is that this is only a half-hour show, where Orange is the New Black and Weeds were hour-longs. So this first season,
I thought Weeds was half hour.
No, Weeds was hour long.
What? Oh,
and
that's why I stopped watching.
And so you don't, by the end of this season, you don't necessarily get all the way into every character, into all of their arcs, but everyone does a really great job. And the arc on this first season of Glow is fantastic. So that's 10 half-hour episodes on Netflix now. It's a Netflix original, so it should be available in all territories.
I definitely got sucked in right at the beginning. First episode really took me. Really enjoyed it, and so I told Bonnie.
I definitely got sucked into episode 3, which my wife watched, even though I hadn't seen 1 and 2.
Also, Mark Maron. Mark Maron's in this, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
This is his best role, and he's only like kind of he's mostly playing Mark Maron, but he's perfect for his role as the like visionary B movie director turned wrestling commissioner or Vince
founder,
something like
yeah.
that.
Shannon, does any of this convince you to watch Glow?
You know, Netflix has done a really good job of marketing this show to me. I see it every single time I turn on Netflix, so I feel like I should watch it, but I didn't know what it was about. So
whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no,
I am completely out of the sphere when it comes to the pro wrestling world. I didn't know what Glow was. Like, it completely confused me. I was like, what is this? Some 80s workout channel?
Man,
Something? That's what it looks like.
Between this and you calling Watchmen that old movie, I'm starting to feel like we're of different ages.
Just a little bit.
Oh. Sorry, my back's acting up.
It sounds good though. No, to be honest, like after listening to you guys talk about it, I'm more inclined to watch it now that I understand that it's about pro wrestling in the 80s. That makes a lot more sense to me.
Hey, folks, if you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. While you're doing that, Brian will tell you something amazing.
Yeah, man. Look, go to youtube.com/modernrogue. It's a really good channel. We do lots of good stuff. This week we did an episode on counterfeit and currency, all the myths and mythos and secret stuff built into the money that's in your wallet right now. You're going to learn a whole bunch of really cool stuff, and that's just on Friday's episode, and that's youtube.com/themodern or Modern Rogue. No, the.
It'll cure your lumbago. Go watch it now. Let's move on to the front lines.
Frontlines.
AT&T announced hotels can now get DirecTV HD systems with Staycast built in. Staycast is a Google Cast powered service. Guests would need to download either the Staycast app, or some hotels are actually bundling Staycast into their own hotel app. Get on the hotel Wi-Fi, but then you can send cast-enabled apps like Hulu and Netflix. Those apps don't have to do anything special. They just have to have Chromecast built in, which they already do. And you can send it to your hotel TV. Staycast also has a deal with Hyatt and Samsung's hospitality TVs, so you may find it in more and more places soon.
So as a security consultant, host of Hack 5, this sounds super safe, smart idea. Everyone just hop on Wi-Fi and stream stuff to your TV.
Oh, man. I can't wait to see the vulnerabilities that come out of this one, because hotel Wi-Fi is not secure. Anybody
That's the problem,
that's on
right?
that same Wi-Fi can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because the Staycast part of it's fine. If I get into Staycast, once my stream is happening on Staycast, then I'm fine. My credential is safe. But you can't use your VPN on the hotel Wi-Fi to use Staycast, right?
Right. Yeah, that's going to run into some issues. So
Yeah.
have fun with that, though, everybody.
Okay,
Meanwhile-
if you had a locked down device that had nothing but Hulu on it, and you got on
Yeah.
the hotel Wi-Fi and you just said cast
Yeah.
from Hulu to Staycast, would that be safe?
Yeah. I
Like, would your
assume
Hulu
so.
credentials be
I don't
at
think
risk?
that you would end up with malware on your device if you're just using it for that app and you're not connecting to anything else and not logging into any other applications while you're on the Wi-Fi. But as long as they're using some kind of secure connection between your device and the
they're
device
probably
to actually cast it, then it should be fine.
No, probably.
But
Meanwhile,
I wouldn't use my regular cell phone on the hotel Wi-Fi. No, thank you.
Yep. No.
YouTube TV expanded to Phoenix, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Alabama, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Daytona Beach, Melbourne, Atlanta, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., Detroit, and Minneapolis, St. Paul. Looks like there's one, tech-centric city left off that list there.
Yeah, Kansas City's not on there. You're right.
Okay, maybe one of two. You got to give it to Houston and not Austin?
Wait, Seattle's not on here either, is it? Oh, Seattle was in the first round, though. Never mind. Yeah. How is Austin not in here? Come on. DFW and Houston both?
Best I can figure is that maybe there's a spotlight shown on the Austin market, or maybe they could in the background, of course, we're a Google Fiber City. It could be that either an existing agreement says don't.
My
you can get
guess
TV
is this
on
has to
fiber.
do with getting agreements for local affiliates. And if I recall correctly, Austin is an O&O. It's the owned and operated affiliates that are easiest to get deals with, and that's probably what this list is made of.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mohu's antenna called the Leaf Glide is out. It claims a 65-mile reception range. That's up from 50 miles in the previous Leaf. Slightly bigger, too, 21.5 inches by 11.5 inches wide, which Mohu says lets it pick up lower frequency bands better. So if you tried a Mohu Leaf before or one of these other flat antennas type things, and it didn't quite get the reception, and you thought, well, wait, it's only 60 miles away. This might be the one to try.
Yeah, that's got to be really, or even if you just have, structural things causing interference.
Yeah.
It seems like that would
Yeah,
help.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Keep in mind with anything like this, any kind of antennas are going to have to deal with some kind of problems with any buildings around you or trees or leaves, very busy areas. Those are going to cause some problems.
Yeah, we grew up near St. Louis, 45 miles. But I can tell you right now, that 50-mile Mohu probably doesn't work to pick up St. Louis stations in Greenville, because some of the transmitters are on the other side of St. Louis, and there's like you say, there's trees and hills. But I bet you the 65-mile could make all the difference.
Sling TV has expanded the availability of its cloud DVR to iOS devices, Windows 10, and its own Air TV player. The cloud DVR was already supported on Xbox One, Fire TV, Android, Apple TV, and Roku. The DVR can be used on some but not all channels. No ABC Disney channels, including ESPN, can be recorded. The Air TV player also got the ability to remove unwanted over-the-air channels from the lineup.
Yeah, I guess this is just a matter of they have to go to each app and rework that software to include the DVR functionality. Because when they went to the Air TV app, they added a bunch of other smaller features than the channel lineup tweaks as well. Sony has launched its Emerging Filmmakers program because Powered didn't do so well, but that was their original superhero show.
Yeah.
You have until August 1st, folks, to submit your story. Top 10 concepts will be pitched to a panel of judges who will approve 5 of those concepts to be turned into pilot episodes. And of those 5 pilots, they're going to do an Amazon-like thing and ask the PlayStation community to vote. And Sony will pay the top 50 pitches $250 to own the ideas. Top 10 finalists get $1,000, and the top 5 get $5,000.
That's
That's awful, right?
yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes!
pretty awful.
It's
You
horrible.
get $250 to sell your idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this is a legal monstrosity, because now they're going to be on the record receiving all this stuff, and now anytime some Sony movie sounds like somebody's pitched from whatever, they're going to be able to point to this. This is a nightmare. Plus, it generates.
Well, no. I mean, Sony's covering their ass. They're like, if you submit, we own your idea.
Okay, this is
And top 50
No way.
will get $250 for that.
No.
Bet.
I
kidding
know,
me?
like it
That's
starts out
horrible.
sounding really good, and then it just. the deal gets worse all the time.
Well, and it doesn't seem like, I mean, they get the ideas, but I'm not going to pretend there's going to be a lot of gold in those ideas. You know, it's Sony is going to get a lot of negative publicity for this. It sounds like they're not going to generate much buzz around it. It's not like they're doing a Planet of the Apps style, you know, tied in television show media event thing.
I mean, maybe they are, but yeah, I did not see that mentioned.
Yeah. I don't know. But here's what I do know. Vimeo announced it will not launch the subscription video service it announced 3 years ago and had been scheduled to start in 2018. What do you think the real story is on that?
No clue. Maybe just the money didn't work out. Maybe they said, you know what, getting people to pay a monthly sounds great because subscription services always pay off. But it's too much trouble to put together. I mean, they've been kicking this around for 3 years, and it wasn't going to launch for another year, and they're just like backing out. They're like, nope. And maybe it's a rights thing. They actually will make more money helping creators sell their projects in other places, something like that.
And it could be as simple as a consultant saying, look, the market's really saturated. You guys don't have enough of a different stuff. Our testing indicates that this is going to be a failure. And they're all like, well, let's kill it before it starts.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's move on to the dispatches from the front. Now, Joe says, I've been a cord cutter for the last several years. Life's gotten easier since solutions like PlayStation View and Sling TV have been released. I've been settled on PlayStation View, and I'm using Amazon Fire TVs to watch on my TV. Since the announcement that Amazon will have an app on the Apple TV, I'm also a Prime subscriber. I've been contemplating getting an Apple TV. My main interest is in the TV app. It keeps track of them shows I'm watching and serves the next episode up. I was wondering if this works as advertised and if it makes the new Apple TV worth purchasing. Reason I ask, I'm a little device heavy at the moment. 1 Fire TV, 2 Fire TV sticks, 2 older Apple TVs, and a Chromecast. I want to make sure the next device I buy is worth it. Appreciate your input and opinion.
This is not a bit that was set up before the show. This is the spirit. The spirit took Tom Merritt and told him he had a very specific calling.
Oh, man.
That's just that's my interpretation of Joe. I don't know if that's your Joe.
I really enjoyed that.
Am I the only one who uses the Apple TV on the panel right now?
I use one.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so
I have a Roku.
I have started using the TV app more, Bryce, and I have found that when it works great, but it doesn't work all the time for 2 reasons. One is the show you want just isn't part of the system yet, like a lot of Netflix shows, or it doesn't update sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll look at the top and I'll say like, wait, that's not the next regular show. That's the regular show I watched 2 episodes ago.
And also, if you're using, if like Joe says, if you're watching on a different device, it doesn't always keep track of that until you've gone into the app and gone into that series for it to see, oh, I've gotten further and further. It's a little weird. And then, with the idea that Amazon, Prime video streaming is going to be coming to the Apple TV soon, we don't necessarily know how deep that integration with the TV app is going to be. So
exactly,
it could be a Netflix thing where it's some stuff but not everything. It could be like Hulu where it's supposed to be everything. But right now it's a really good idea, but
I want to use it more. Like since more of the shows I watch, like Hulu shows, have started showing up there, I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's great. I think Twin Peaks is up there. American Gods is up there. Like, I don't have to think. I just click. But the problem is it doesn't have all the things. So occasionally I do have to think. And then when it doesn't work right, when it doesn't refresh, which they could fix that. Like I'm going to say, okay, let's say they fixed that refreshing thing down the road. They just need to get all the stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm the same thing. It's like I would love to use it more, but if I'm binging a show on Netflix, I know that I'm watching it there. And my Netflix is my TV input was last on my PlayStation, so I'll just watch it there because that also has Netflix.
Do you ever find that you've like just watched a couple of minutes of something on like HBO's app, and then it shows up in your TV suggested forever, and you have to remember to go in and remove it?
Yeah.
So we got an email from Nikki in Omaha, who actually did hear what I was trying to say last week. She writes, Or I see he or she. I actually don't know. Hi guys, I've been thinking. They.
There you go.
They, right. Hi guys, I've been thinking about what Netflix might miss out on. The horse they didn't bet on. I'm gonna go with plugins. Whether it's HBO, Showtime, or CBS CW, we aren't getting everything from one source other than cable. YouTube is close now with their offering of live TV, and Amazon is close as well with their channel options. So I'm calling it now. Next couple of years will be the battle of the UI. Which service you use will depend on not only original content, but the UI itself and the extras it provides. It gives a bunch of examples. They give a bunch of examples. And then they say, final thought, I've been waiting a long time for 3-month or 6-month subscription cards. We as cord cutters are cash conscious. We may want something like a CISO or a BritBox, but feel like they're a bit expensive on a monthly basis, I assume. Yet I'd have no problem putting it on a Christmas or birthday wish list. Hulu spoiled me with their cards as I would give them to my daughter for a year of service every year for Christmas, but now I need more options. I love this idea. Like, I think we're so, it's getting slightly better with Amazon and how easy it is to unsubscribe. I think I've subscribed and unsubscribed to Starz twice now. And now when you subscribe, you could let it lapse after 30 days. But I love the idea of just a pay for 3 months or 6 months and then it terminates thing.
Yeah, I guess I just don't see. I think this is the problem we're identifying with Netflix is before it was very easy to see, oh, well, the problem is online video isn't available. And then they made that available. Well, the problem is they won't get all the good shows. Well, they'll just make the good shows themselves. I don't see what Netflix's problem is other than they don't have everything in the world. And I'm not sure that it makes sense for them to do that. Shannon, what do you think?
I agree with you. I would love for them to just focus on what they know, and what they know is creating good content and making a good UI. Personally, at least that's how I feel. I think that what they currently have is awesome. That's the only one that I currently subscribe to other than Amazon Prime. I don't pay for Crunchyroll because I signed up for a free month. But I like it. You know, I don't think that they need to introduce things that are fairly new for them because I don't want them to screw up and ruin what we currently have.
And by the way, what I was saying that I loved is the idea of 3 to 6 month subscription cards that you just buy once and don't worry about. I think the parallel Nikki's going for is basically Amazon versus Netflix. Amazon is everything and also the movies.
Right.
And but I do think it's the smarter network branding play for Netflix to just be Netflix very, very well.
Yeah, Netflix should be the add-on, not the adder-on.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Is that ever a world we live in where Amazon offers Netflix as an add-on?
I could totally see that.
I mean, Amazon will do it. I don't know if Netflix would.
Netflix,
but it
would not be Netflix. It would not be in Netflix's best interests. But if Amazon could flip a switch and all of a sudden all of Netflix's catalog shows in every search, I would imagine that would go over very well.
And then I know this is probably our typo, but I still love the idea that Bill is sunny Colorado. He just is.
It actually,
Bill.
It was Bill's. It was Bill's, but I didn't want to correct it because I too found it charming.
I like it. Maybe it's not a typo. Maybe Bill's like, no, I'm proudly sunny Colorado. That's me. Anyway, Bill says, I recently dropped Comcast cable in favor of DirecTV Now, Netflix, Hulu, and Prime on Apple TV. The strange reason was the data usage policy that Comcast has and the viewing differences of generations. We have 5 teens and they don't watch cable at all. It's all about streaming for them. And we were close to the cap every month and needed to babysit it. We finally decided to just go digital. While the monthly cost is about the same, I love the consumption model much better now that we are adjusted. I can easily see a future without DirecTV Now as well.
That's awesome.
Is that reverse cutting? Was that cord planting? Is that what I heard?
Well, yeah, he dropped Comcast cable and then I guess like upped his internet plans to get rid of the cap.
That is good. Hey, if
Although
you guys
keep
want
in mind, depending on where you live in the United States, your cap might be different. Like here in the Bay Area, we just got the 1 terabyte cap put on Comcast consumer accounts, but business models are still unlimited. So it might vary depending on where you live.
That's true. Check your local fine print for caps. Don't let the caps get you.
Go to the library, ask the librarian, where is the caps print? And
don't let them pop a cap on you. or anywhere on you. All right, that is it for this episode of Cordkillers. Shannon Morse, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
If people want to follow you, find out more of what you got going on, where should they go?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Snubs. That's at SNUBS. And I've also been doing a ton of really cool stuff on Hack5 and Tech Thing recently. Most recently on Tech Thing, we did this cool video about what you need in your toolbox, including a whole bunch of different chemicals that make cleaning your electronics insanely easy. So definitely check it out. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel too. I'm trying to get us up to 50,000 subscribers. So we're trickling there. We're so close. I just want to get us up to 50K.
Yeah, make it happen.
Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on diamondclub.tv Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We will kill your cords again next week.
Hey guys, Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
let's go.
It's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.